Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Fran, I'm from Venezuela, and today we're going to be watching a video called 14 of the Deadliest Animals in Australia. Danger Down Under. This looks like a very curious video because I know that Australia has a lot of dangerous and wild animals. Well, at least from my perspective, I think they're pretty wild, but I don't know if they're actually like dangerous. So I know that, well, I do know they have a lot of dangerous snakes, but I'm guessing there's gonna be other animals in here. So let's find out, and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe.
Australia is a country full of lots of bitey animals that want to end your life. Although there are some
See,
dangerous
like
creatures
it's gonna end your life. It's so dramatic.
in Australia, the risk of them biting or killing you is relatively low. In
Yeah,
fact, there are plenty of
that's
other
my point. I think generally, yes, maybe Australia as a country, the ecosystem probably has a lot of dangerous animals, but because it's like a very buried country, so like every other country, it's gonna have a lot of animals. Some of them are gonna be dangerous. But what are the actual chances that you actually have an encounter with a wild animal that's gonna kill you? Like, I'm guessing if you live in a city, it's probably less risk. Like usually that's the case. Like the dangerous animals tend to be like in the jungle, in the woods, or in like certain specific areas. And I don't think that you're in the metropolis, you're in great danger. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, and they have like poisonous snakes or spiders in Sydney or Melbourne, or I don't know, New South Wales, or like a lot of popular areas. So let's check it out.
countries that are far more dangerous when it comes to wildlife. But of course, it's important not to be reckless when visiting Australia.
Oh yeah, of course. My point was not like be reckless, and like if you see an animal, like, oh, like it looks fun, it looks pretty, like I'm gonna touch it. Like, please don't do that. But my point was, like about the actual encounter. Obviously, you always have to keep your distance. Like even with dogs, dogs tend to be like, it's it is a domestic animal. But even if you see a dog like on the street, don't pet the dog. You can be like, oh, it's so cute, but please ask like the owner if the dog is not dangerous, because some dogs, and check out the dog itself, because sometimes the dog will let you know that it's not comfortable and it can attack you. That happens. It's super common. And that's why you shouldn't really like pet dogs or any sort of animal that's not yours. And you have to like really be careful and check out its behavior to see like if you can approach the dog. So if that's with like a domestic animal that's been around humans for like thousands of years, with wild animals, that's like, I don't know, like the risk is double. Like, don't come close, and if you see a wild animal, just admire it from afar, but you shouldn't really approach wild animals as a rule, neither in Australia or in any other country in the world.
In this video, I will be going through just a few creatures
I
on
love
the
the fact
continent.
that, see, like they're adorable. I understand, like you can see it's like a pack of kangaroos. I don't know if that's the right term when you have like a lot of kangaroos. But even kangaroos, they're adorable. They look so cute. But I know they can be very dangerous because they like punch you. They're like boxers. So you shouldn't like come close to them. And even horses, horses can kick you. So, don't do that.
As I will be going through the deadliest animals in Australia. The first group of animals we will be looking at are the land animals.
Okay.
And when you first take a look at the Australian ecosystem, it seems to be missing something. Most other continents have large land carnivores, whereas Australia seems to be lacking them.
Oh.
This land was once
See,
home to a
that's
large...
quite interesting. I hadn't really thought of that. And when they were showing tigers, I was like, oh, I didn't really know that Australia had tigers. But like in my mind, I was like, well, of course they're going to have tigers. Like, I think a lot of continents, and probably all continents, have tigers, I think. Although maybe Europe, I don't think Europe doesn't have tigers, I think. But just like, or lions for that point. But they have like large carnivores. I think that's sort of like their usual thing, maybe. Although maybe not. And maybe it's just like an American thing. But yeah, because probably again because they're so isolated, probably animals didn't really the animals were on they got stuck on the other part of the land. On like in Southeast Asia or something like that when the continent separated.
Marsupial lion. But this creature went extinct around 30,000 years ago.
And
Today,
it
one
was
of
like
Australia's
it looks like it was called a marsupial lion, but it looked like I don't know, maybe like a capybara or something like that. It looked like a large rodent. At least that was my impression.
largest land carnivores is the dingo. But this wild
the
dog
dingo,
wasn't always
like the Seinfeld episode with Ellie. My baby ate the dingo. No, the dingo ate my baby.
Australian. The earliest known dingo fossil was found in
I have
Western
to
Australia.
say, I really like dogs, and if I've never been to Australia, but if I ever saw a dingo, I think I would confuse it for a normal dog. I would just think it's like, oh, it's it's a mutt. It's not like in a specific species of dog, but I would just think, oh, it's a dog, it's a mutt.
Yeah. And this dates back to around 3,450 years ago. It's thought that dingoes
like a
first
dog.
reached Australia around 8,300 years ago, and it's believed that they were brought over by a human population. Since then, they really
so
have
where
made
from where? So if they went extinct, probably like in its original place. I'm curious to see like where were they originally from? Probably some Polynesian culture, from some Polynesian place, maybe. I'm guessing, but I'm not sure.
Australia their home, but they're not exactly very dangerous to humans. In most cases, dingoes only go after children, and the most recent attacks were non-fatal and happened in
I'm sorry, but that was really funny. And again, Seinfeld, they didn't go eat my baby. That was so weird. They're not dangerous, but they usually go, they attack children. But they're not gonna kill your baby, so it's okay.
2021. To this day, there has only been a handful of fatal dingo
but
attacks.
okay, so I'm making fun of it, but yeah, I think their point is that they're not like an animal, they're not a dangerous animal per se, like there are attacks, but I'm guessing it's like few attacks. Like if you see a dingo, you're not gonna have to like run, like, oh my god, it's gonna kill me. Like if you see, I don't know, a lion, that's like a very, that you should definitely be scared if you ever see a lion down in the wild.
Part we're not on the menu and they don't view us as food. In Australia, far more people are killed by domesticated dogs than they are by dingoes.
Yeah, and probably because I think, obviously, like statistics will tell you that it's probably because there's more domestic dogs than dingoes, and there's more encounters of humans with domestic dogs than between humans and dingoes. So, it's statistics. But I understand their point is that they're not actually like dangerous to humans. They're not gonna see you as prey.
And really, they're not as dangerous as you might think.
It looks like a dog.
There are some other relatively large land carnivores in Australia, and these come in the form of monitor lizards. The largest of the Australian monitor lizards is the parenti, but really this creature is very unlikely to attack a human. These lizards live in the more arid areas of Australia, and they very rarely encounter humans.
I think a lot of lizards live in the desert.
Even if you did come across this reptile in the wild, it would probably flee, as it's really focused on much smaller prey, such as lizards and birds. Strangely, one of the most dangerous...
Okay, so why is it dangerous? Is it poisonous?
...creatures that you can run into on land in Australia is not a predator, and it is in fact the southern cassowary. This bird is one of three... It looks
like a peacock, like a peacock and an ostrich. No, I don't think it's that big. But it definitely looks like a peacock, like a cousin of a peacock.
3 species of cassowary, and it is the heaviest bird in Australia despite being shorter than the emu. These giant birds mostly feed on fruits on the forest floor.
It looks like a gigantic turkey as well.
Part they are quite peaceful creatures. Problems arise when people start feeding these birds.
See, like I wouldn't really do that. Like, don't feed the bird. They're wild birds. It's not like a pigeon that you encounter on the street or, I don't know, like in a park, and you want to like I don't want to feed them like corn nuts or I don't know breadcrumbs. It's a wild bird that's like the size of a small human. Like, don't feed them.
As these birds can become very protective of their young, and they don't need a lot of encouragement to attack. One of the things that makes the southern cassowary very dangerous are its two spear-like
It looks
inner
like,
claws.
yeah, they have claws. Like, birds have gigantic claws that they can get pretty nasty if they ever, like, attack you. Because I
When
think
attacking, it
birds are actually descendants or, sort of descendants of dinosaurs. I think they're the closest thing we have right now to dinosaurs because I think they were back down the line, they were related somehow. And when you look at the eyes and the claws of a bird, like it makes sense. You're like, yeah, that's a dinosaur. Like I can see it.
will thrust these towards people, and they can easily become embedded in your
Oh my
abdomen.
God.
Even though these birds are potentially dangerous, attacks are still relatively rare, and there have only been a few fatalities over the years. One of the most recent fatal attacks didn't even happen in Australia, as a Florida man was killed by his pet cassowary in 2000.
I'm laughing. I know it's bad, but I know that Florida has it's very famous online because of those jokes about the Florida man, and that this is not helping their case. Florida man attacked by cassowary, and he had a pet cassowary. Why do you have a pet cassowary? That would be my first question. Not to victim blame, but what?
19. So even though this bird doesn't take many lives, it's best to leave it alone. And this is especially the case if they have young. Even though Australia is lacking some large land carnivores, it definitely isn't lacking smaller venomous creatures. Australia is
was huge.
famous for its highly venomous snakes, and there really are quite a few
Oh my God. And the snake is swimming. I don't think I've ever seen that. My knowledge of sea snakes are the sea snakes that are actually underwater. When you look at them when they're like in rocks near, like when you're like submerged in the water in natural beaches, and when you have like a cliff and the sea, and when you're like, I know you're doing like snorkeling and you like look at the rocks when there's like a lot of like a lot of like little things, you're underwater. And there's like sea snakes that are green and brown. They're frightening and they're constantly like opening their mouths. I used to swim a lot in a place. There was a place I used to swim at when I was a child, and it was filled with those snakes, and they traumatized me for life. And now I'm like, I know they're there, and every time there's like a rocky place on a beach, like I know there's probably like filled with snakes underneath, and it's super like scary. Although I don't think they actually like do anything. At least they never really attacked me, or I've never heard of them attacking people. But like it's quite shocking to see like a bunch of like 5 or 6 snakes like coming out of a rock and like opening their mouths.
species. The species that is often known as the most deadly is the inland taipan, but really it's very unlikely that you will come across this snake. More than 85%
Yeah, like that's my
of
point. Like probably most people, and probably if you're a tourist, you're not gonna go like to those isolated places. You're just gonna be staying in the touristy places, and people where actually live. So you're not gonna encounter one of these like super deadly snakes. It's not common that you're like around your house and you're gonna like find a ginormous venomous snake.
Australians live within 50 kilometres of the coast, and that's because the
It's a
majority
desert.
of Australia is inhospitable. Most of Australia is made up of dry deserts, and it's very hard to make a living here. In these areas is where you'll find the inland taipan, and really this snake wants nothing to do with you. They feed almost exclusively on small
He's like
mammals.
the little mouse in Dune. I don't remember the name, but it's like the little mouse in Dune.
And they'd only bite a human in self-defense. This snake is called the deadliest
See,
snake
like
in
they
Australia.
only bite in self-defense, so stay away. If you see like one of these snakes, just like stay away, and you're gonna be fine.
Because of its venom, as it's estimated that one bite possesses enough lethality to kill at least 100
Oh
fully
my
grown
God.
humans. Of course, stats like these are very frightening, but there are quite a few other species that kill more people in
Okay, yeah,
Australia.
it's frightening, but there's more because I'm guessing there's gonna be something that it's actually you can actually encounter them more easily, and it's probably more dangerous.
than the inland taipan. Since the year 2000, there are 4 main culprits when it comes to snakebite fatalities, and these are the coastal taipan with 3 fatalities, the western brown snake with 3 fatalities, the tiger snake with 6 fatalities, and the eastern brown snake with 12
Okay, that's
fatalities.
a lot. If that's a year, I'm guessing like that's a lot actually.
These
Oh my
4
god, it's
species
swimming
are
like next to the ducks. Like, it makes me so nervous.
not the most venomous snakes, but they're more likely to come into contact with humans, and they're more likely to bite. Luckily, if you are bitten by any of these
Okay, I'm
snakes
sorry,
in
but that was
Australia,
shocking to me. Oh my god, blood.
normally
A lot
if you
of
get
blood.
medical attention, you will be fine. As there are so many venomous creatures in Australia, most hospitals have a large amount of antivenom, and this of course will reverse the effects of the venom. Australia is also very well
Okay,
known
so
for its large
it's comforting to know that they're prepared. So if you get bitten, like they can help you. Go to the hospital, go to emergency, it's okay. Go to the ER.
spiders, and these can come in the form of tarantulas, trapdoor spiders, and mouse spiders. All of these arachnids are potentially dangerous, but possibly the most deadly species is the Sydney funnel web. This species has a highly toxic venom that's produced in large amounts. It has very large fangs to inject this venom, and a bite would definitely ruin your day. As this species
Okay, but
is
it's
the
gonna ruin
deadliest
your day, but it's not gonna kill you. So again, comforting.
spider in Australia, you may assume that it kills quite a few people each year. This couldn't be any further from the truth, as there hasn't been a fatality from a Sydney funnel web bite since 1981,
Cool.
and this was when its antivenom was first made available. So even though many of the large spiders in Australia
Again, that's why it's
are
gonna like ruin your day, but it's not gonna kill you.
frightening, it is very unlikely that they will kill you. But now we've looked at some of the most dangerous land creatures in Australia, it's time that we look towards the ocean. The waters around Australia are teeming with
And
life,
sharks.
and there are quite a few marine species that can only be found around Australia. Just off the coast of Australia, you will find some of the largest reefs in the world, and these reefs are very fragile and diverse ecosystems. Before we go any further, I'd just like to point out that shark attacks are very rare. There are
Okay,
only
it's
around
rare. Okay, so I was wrong. That makes me happy. It's not likely to encounter. You're not likely to encounter a shark if you're swimming in an Australian beach, so it's okay.
5 to 15 fatal attacks each year, but quite often a large percentage of these attacks happen off the coast of Australia. Shark attacks are mostly carried out by 3 main species, these being the bull shark, the great white shark, and the tiger shark. In Australia, the majority of attacks are carried out by great whites, and since the year 2000, bull sharks were responsible for 1 fatal attack, tiger sharks were responsible for 1 fatal attack, and great whites were responsible for 18.
That's actually not that much, I think.
Recent fatal shark attack in Australia happened earlier this year, but the culprit was thought to be a bull shark as it happened in a river. As I've already said, shark attacks are
In
still
a river,
relatively rare.
I didn't know that there could be. They swim in rivers. I think they was only in the ocean.
But as it is one of the most frightening ways to go, it's understandable why so many people are scared of sharks. Not all deadly ocean
So many
creatures have to
people,
be
I would guess every human is scared of a shark attack, or at least like if it's the first time you encounter a shark and you're swimming, like it's gonna. I'm guessing chances are 99% of the population is gonna be scared.
large predators, as the waters of Australia are also home to some smaller killers. If you go snorkeling in the waters around Australia, you might be able to find some blue-ringed octopus species. For the most part, these creatures are harmless if you leave them alone, but if you accidentally step on them or you pester
Okay,
them,
I
it
have
could
to
be the
say, like, it's a beautiful animal. It's beautiful. But yeah, it's funny because he's saying like leave them alone, and the photo is a guy with the octopus on its hand. It's a good rule of thumb. Leave animals alone. Look at them from afar. Don't come close.
last thing you do. Blue-ringed octopuses can produce tetrodotoxin, which is the same toxin that's found in some pufferfish species.
Oh,
This
those
toxin
are
is
the ones that kill you,
dangerous.
like when they cook them in Japanese cuisine. They're the ones that there's like a slight chance that they're gonna kill you, that the animal's gonna kill you, but a lot of people like have it either way because it's like fun, it's like Russian roulette. Or maybe it's not like that, and it's like a lot of like it's not all of them that are venomous, and you're gonna be fine. Or maybe it's like you're gonna be fine if you just eat it once, just don't constantly eat it. But I know it's like a delicacy in Japanese cuisine.
Blue-ringed octopus
Or maybe
bites
it's not
you, it can
Japanese, but Asian cuisine.
certainly end your life. Fatalities from blue-ringed octopus bites are extremely rare, but there's thought to have been at least 11 over the years.
See,
Another
more
group
than
of
shark
marine
attacks.
creatures that you might want to look out for are the jellyfish, and more specifically the box jellyfish.
Yeah, they sting. Well, but maybe they can kill you. But I know that I've never been stung, but I've known people that have, and they are like, it's the most terrible thing that can happen to you. It's really, really painful.
These creatures are able to cause paralysis and cardiac arrest with their stings, and in some cases this can lead to death. Since the year 2000, there have been at least 10 confirmed
Oh my god,
fatalities.
for jellyfish? Were there stingers? Oh my god, I didn't know that they could actually like kill you, and there were so many people that have died because of it.
Important that you look out for signs. So far, these creatures have proved that the waters around Australia are relatively dangerous, but there is still one ecosystem that we haven't taken a look at. Australia's freshwaters can be very rich and diverse, and they're home to some creatures that can't be found anywhere else in the world. These waters are often full of predators, and some of them are even home to one of the largest predators on this planet. There are 2 species of crocodilian that can be found in Australia. One is the mostly harmless freshwater crocodile, and the other is the highly dangerous saltwater crocodile.
Was huge.
The Australian
crocodiles tend to be very big. Or at least all the crocodiles I've seen have been very big. But I know that in Australia they have a lot of like species, but it's the same thing. You know, if you ever I've looked at crocodiles in the wild, and it's fine as long as you like don't approach them.
Freshwater crocodile is mostly interested in fish, and you can tell this by its long narrow snout. This crocodile only really attacks in self-defense, or sometimes in cases of mistaken identity. The saltwater crocodile, on the other hand, is one of the most dangerous reptiles in the world, and is one of the few predators that sees humans directly as a food source. Although they are called
saltwater crocodiles. Oh my god, I didn't know that they actually saw humans as food. Like, what? That's insane.
They are mostly found in brackish waters, and if one of these predators chooses to attack you in the water, you stand little chance. These crocodilians really are apex predators, and giants can exceed lengths of 6 meters. Even though these predators are terrifying and they are more than capable.
Okay, so what I'm getting at it, like what I'm getting is like don't swim in rivers, in Australian rivers. Although I've been in beaches, where they'll tell you like it's dangerous if you swim because there's crocodiles nearby, so like swim at your own risk. So you really shouldn't swim in beaches. Where I'm guessing there's like rivers nearby, so they tell you like there's signs all over like don't swim or swim at your own risk because there can be crocodiles nearby.
Taking down a human. Fatal attacks on humans are still relatively rare. On average, in Australia, saltwater crocodiles kill around 1.9 people a year, and this really is a shockingly low number. I guess if you knew
I know
this
it's the statistics, but like 1.9 looks kind of funny. It's like, so it's one person, one 0.%, like it's gonna be like, I don't know, they left an arm, like how does it work?
Potentially be in a river, you're very unlikely to swim in it, and really I wouldn't blame you. If you think there's any deadly Australian creatures that I haven't included in this video, then let me know down in the comments below. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like these. I don't know if it's a dog or a dingo. I'm honestly not sure. Till next time, goodbye.
Yeah, that was really interesting. I didn't really know that the stingers could be like that dangerous. I thought it was just you could have like a really bad time because it's gonna sting and it's gonna be quite painful, but not to the point where it's gonna actually kill you. But yeah, that was super interesting. I want to see a dingo now, like in person, to see if when you look at it in person, it doesn't really look that much like a dog. But that was really interesting, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you soon. Bye.